What's going on, guys? My name is RagingRaptor and I welcome you to a new World of Tanks related video. And today I want to have a look with you at the World of Tanks end of the year event questions and answers session, which was made by Maxim Juvalov, which is the global publishing director of World of Tanks, Alexei Ilyin, product manager of World of Tanks, and Vyacheslav Makarov, which is the product director of World of Tanks. It's important to note, if you want to read it for yourself, do it. I leave a link in the comment section below or in the description of the video where you can read about this Q&A all by yourself. I'm going to go through every single one of the things they said and give you my personal opinion on it or other things we already know about it. So yeah, grab yourself a nice cup of tea, which you can't see because of the green screen, and let's have a look at how it goes. So, the first thing we have is that next year each episode of the Frontline will be more self-sufficient. And even if you only play Steel Hunter, you can get all the rewards. The rewards will be new. Steel Hunter and Frontlines will have a single progression, which will last the whole year with common rewards. However, playing all episodes or forcibly playing only the Frontlines will no longer be necessary. You can play only in Hunter or in Frontlines and collect all rewards. So that's pretty interesting because Wargaming already said that the Project 4.1 or the Projet 4.1 will be the frontline reward tank of 2020, the 4-shot, 4 seconds autoloader. And I like this idea that there will be a unique progression for both modes, so you can decide what you want to play. So if you feel more playing Battle Royale, sure, play Battle Royale. If you like Frontline more, especially because it gives a little bit more dosh, go for Frontline. I like this idea, and it takes away of the, it takes away of the need to play one specific mode all the freaking time. So that is nice. I enjoy that, and that is good. And as you can already see down here about Frontline this year, yes, maybe we went too far and there were too many episodes. Next year will be fewer. So they understood that this year was too grindy. I think this is also why they introduced the boosters, which is a great thing. That they acknowledge that they are making mistakes. At least the World of Tanks team. World of Warships has their own kind of problems right now. Next up, we have the new crew rework. Is in a very active stage of development. We collect crew builds, observe and play with them. Cause of obliviousness about the crew system, decided to simplify the system because yes, it is complicated and inconvenient for players, and also simply irrelevant in the current meta. We will simplify the system and talk about it a bit later. I think that 2020 may or may not be the turning point for World of Tanks to become more friendly to newer players. I don't know. I hope so, because in my opinion there are 3 major issues in World of Tanks. It's that the game is very noob unfriendly, the crews are very and heavily stacked against new players, and the balancing. Sure, the balancing which we be getting with the Sandbox changes may or may not be awesome. Like, we still have no weak spots on some tanks. We will have HE with no penetration, etc. But it will also maybe be better for lower tiers, especially the more HP for lower tiers. Then they want to simplify trees, which is a little bit of a pity because it kind of destroys the uniqueness of lower tiers. But then again, it makes it easier for new players. And lastly, the crew system, which is very against noobs. I think if they do it right and abolish 50%, 80% crews, that might be an amazing thing for 2020, and this could be the turning point. Anyway, to the first question. When you launch events, you usually have a lot of problems. Halloween has been cancelled altogether. Why is this happening, and what needs to be done so that everything goes smoothly? And this is a very complex internal problem. We are now working on improving and changing some processes. In general, recently our staff has greatly improved in development and to introduce new players, train them and integrate them into the process. All this is also a large amount of work in itself. In addition, part of the recent events were done with a sufficiently large participation of new employees, and someone somewhere failed. So it looks like that Wargaming wants to introduce more or new devs into the team. They kind of also said that back in the summer that they had issues with people which were too ignorant or too egoistical, which kind of destroyed some parts of the balancing of the game. So that is interesting to see that Wargaming acknowledges this problem and saying that they have to work on it more better. Sadly, it's still one of those talking around the topic and not just giving a straight answer, except for someone somewhere failed. They're also saying we will try to make the conversion of crews next year fair and not offend anybody. How it will look in numbers we still don't know, and even if we miscalculate somewhere and the players abuse the mechanic, we will live through this possibility, that's okay. The main thing at the exit is not to get imbalanced crews that have everything unlocked. Again, if I'm reading this, I'm not so sure what Wargaming wants to do. I personally think the World of Warships system with a skill tree and specific amount of different skills you can get is an amazing thing because it gives finality to something. And you can use the XP you grind there, even you have a fully skilled commander, to help a less skilled commander, like giving it XP, giving it a new skill, etc., etc. I like this system because they can mix and match different playstyles rather easily. And I hope that Wargaming is going to introduce something like this in World of Tanks. It works wonders in World of Warships, personally. And I play the game, I'm not just talking about it. And yeah. This is also important. It will not be possible to change the nations of the crew after the rework. This is not a question, this is just a statement by the devs. If the 2020 was more about new events, then the 2019, If the 2019 was more about new events, then the 2020 will be more about the introduction of new features. In 2020, we will have less events than in 2019. Apart from double-barreled vehicles, in 2020 there will be 2 new branches. One of them are Italian heavy branches. I might have to look that up a little bit, but I already talked to the guy which translated this, Rework, from the Armor Patrol, and we also kind of brainstormed a little bit what could be those 3 tank lines which they're talking about. Or rather, the 2 new ones, we have the Italian heavies already, which apparently are going to be, what's it called? There might be very, very like most likely paper. Or just blueprints, which is a little bit pity, but what can you do? Apparently, we came to the conclusion that we might get British or German wheeled vehicles. There might also be Russian wheeled vehicles because they have a lot apparently. Rework did an amazing job already thinking about a possible tree. And lastly, I have to say that at Gamescom, I know Viktor Gisili, like the head of Wargaming, is drunk. Or was drunk at least. It was way too funny during Gamescom. Or the player party, rather. And he said that there will be the next new tank line will be German wheeled vehicles. But again, this was in August. It was at a German event. So take this all with a grain of salt. So maybe it will be German tanks. Who knows? Next up, when working new balancing, player statistics will be taken into account. There will be a new tab with statistics for a certain period, which the player will see as relevant, and this is much better than it is now. We visualize this as follows. When going into the profile, there will be 2 tabs, General Statistics and Current Statistics. After clicking on the Current Statistics, you will remain forever in this tab. Clicking on another type of statistic, we will save your choice as well. We want to do this as would be more convenient, but maybe there will be some technical adjustments. I don't really have much to say to this because I don't really care about this player statistics. For me, WN8 is the most important factor, and DPG and gun mark values. So, yeah. That feels so good. They don't want to give any details yet on Italian heavies, however, there will be very interesting vehicles, but multiple turret tanks aren't one of them. So I guess because we already know of the national trait of the Italians, we may or may not be getting an auto reloader for heavy tanks, maybe. Who knows? Would be interesting, but also would be maybe a little bit too much, because we get the double-barreled guns, double-barreled tanks, which are already tanks with an interclip, like with a auto-reloader in quotation marks. And then we have the IS-3A, which is still rather strong, but it's very inconvenient to play. And we have the Brachettos. And we have all the other autoloaders. So, yeah, I don't know. In addition to the 2 maps already announced for random battles in 2020, Pearl River and Berlin, we have nothing more, sadly. There will also be improvements to the Steel Hunter map and other various events, such as Halloween. We closed team battles forever because nobody played in them. This is the main reason for the closure, and those who did play simply did this to farm credits. And have fun, my personal opinion on it. And about the maps, well, it's a pity that we only get Pearl River and Berlin, but at least it's something, not like this year where we only got a Frontline map. Whew, hot. They are planning a very big tournament for the 10th anniversary festivities. At the beginning of 2020, they will give us the infos because they're celebrating it August. Next up, currently we want to release one more final iteration of the Sandbox, and I just remembered again that most likely it won't be British light tanks in here, it will most likely be Japanese TDs, because World of Tanks Blitz got them recently, so I could see that World of Tanks and World of Tanks Blitz are kind of working together. Sorry, it just came back to my mind, I should be, yeah. Again, here they want to release one more final iteration of the Sandbox, in which they will be supporting features, new simplified tech trees, statistics, and all other balancing changes. Let's see how it all works out, and if anything goes well, and if the number of participants is high, and we get enough feedback, and the feedback will be positive, we will think about when and how to release it. And the rough plan is at the end of spring. Again, personally, I don't dislike the Sandbox changes, they're just they're not what I personally would have wanted. Especially the HE changes that will lose penetration, because that's kind of sad in my opinion. I understand that HE spam is a problem, and I got to experience it myself as well, but just killing one mechanic is kind of sad, I think. So, yeah, we'll see. Then, they already have announced new equipment for 2020. Interactions with low-tier tanks will also be improved. It will become much cheaper for low-tier tanks, and there will be also some more improvements. Also, with this patch, we'll be cleaning up the tech trees. We will do some massive changes to low-tier tanks with the intent that there will no longer be such an abundance of different tanks at the very bottom of the trees. We want the players to play easier and in return make it more interesting. Again, I dislike the fact that they're wanting to abolish many different low-tier tanks, because diversity is great. I like diversity. Diversity is cool. But I like that they want to make low tiers more accessible. Again, World of Tanks, in my opinion, needs new players. I know at the moment 170,000 people are playing because it's Christmas event. There are always a lot of players, but sometimes they're just 60k. During like October, during like September, it's not that much, really. It's not that much. And I think it's a lot to contribute to the very, very rough getting into the game. I had a friend which wanted to start and said simply no. I don't like to be not killed because I'm unskilled, but because the enemy had a much better crew than I did, or equipment. So that's a great thing. Next thing, the map Dragon Ridge is definitely not for next year or for 2020. It's a pity. They're also working on a new system for communication. Then let's talk about the roflstomps. They are saying they will be dealt with using various tricks with the balancer and a number of other things. 2 times more in total as all measures are introduced. I don't understand this sentence, what they want to say. And that seems to be the ceiling. But sometimes it happens that one team sucks and the other one is playing well, and nothing can be done about that. That's also interesting. You'll be surprised right now, but early scouting on both sides reduces the number of roflstomps. The earlier mutual scouting occurs, the more sanely the team disperses. The main reason for the turbo battles happening is players went into the parts of the map incomprehensibly, like in stupid positions. They're also saying during the last 4 months we looked at all light tank statistics thoroughly, and we looked not only at wheeled vehicles. With the introduction of the British lights, even more attention was paid to this. There is nothing dangerous, but we have different thoughts. When we tested matchmaking with 3 artists, we actually achieved good results. Figures previously at tier 10 approximately 70% of battles were with 3 arties. Now it's exactly 39% and it deviates to 30. It's not a fast process, the system learns depending on situations, etc. But the point is that we already tried to do the same with light tanks. It works, but it's more difficult for the matchmaker, as more parameters influence him strongly. We do not conduct active measures in this issue, but next year will be definitely return the light tanks from the point of view of matchmaking and will tune the distribution of this class. So it sounds like that Wargaming talks about this being an algorithm, like a machine learning algorithm. And that is interesting. They're just saying we want to have less free RT games, and now the matchmaker tries to accomplish that. It looks like they want to do the same thing for light tanks. As you know, I do enjoy playing the wheel vehicles. My issue is that some people play it very, very stupidly and get away with it. That is my personal thing why I dislike the wheeled vehicles. Other than that, I do like the fact that they are fast and they are nimble. They are a mix between light tanks and medium tanks because they have very potent guns if you are using the HE correctly. So that is a good thing in my opinion. But again, we'll see how it goes. Next up, the cluster consolidation, or rather the roaming. They're saying it's a difficult preliminary because of legal sites. There are different laws, different rules, restrictions, taxes, etc. The problem is legal, not technical. Although inside our offices we have already made such a technology a long time ago and even tested it, aka roaming, who remembers. They actually could reintroduce it with the anonymizer because no one would know there are Russians in our server, but who knows. This is interesting. Wargaming wants to add everything related to tournaments into the game client in 2020. At least this was planned. But they have looked at their roadmap and they found out that sadly their manpower was already distributed to more important things. So now they think that the main features will be coming in 2021. And here is also the story. It's very expensive for them to make interfaces. Instead of these tournaments, it's conditionally easier for us to get another Halloween event, and I won't exaggerate. With a good interface, there is a lot of trouble. With how we are doing interfaces now, it's better, but also has its own technical nuances. Equipment, crew, this is all tied to the new interface. We are sending all our forces there for now. There are a lot of new interfaces and to be added when working on tournaments and the new crew balancing. And I think it's clear which one will be chosen from the two. Looks like Wargaming is actually sane enough to understand the crews are more important than tournaments. So, jokes aside, it's a good thing they're focusing on crews. It's kind of weird that they have issues with interfaces, I guess. But again, I'm no developer, I'm no graphics designer, I'm a mechanical engineer, and there we don't need interfaces because this is the problem of the informatic guys. This is interesting. Trophy equipment will be rewarded for the Battle Pass. I actually don't know what exactly the Battle Pass will be. Maybe I slept through it. But the Battle Pass apparently gives you trophy equipment, and this is exactly the same as normal equipment, but you are able to level it up. And it can be leveled up all to the way of being equal to Bond's equipment. And this will stay forever, like it's a progression system. So for example, you get a trophy tank gun rammer. And maybe you can upgrade it like 25 times, every single time by 0.1%. And until you reach 12.5%. And the good thing is, those trophy equipments will be able to get removed by gold and not bonds, because bond equipment can only be removed by using bonds. Also, they are saying there will be no revision of the prices for bond equipment. Also, they are saying, while changes to tank blueprints are not planned, right now we are working on a feature that are closely related to them. It will deliver more useful blueprints to a player who grinds a certain branch. Now they are distributing randomly. We want to work on this at the moment. It is necessary to refine the delivery system in the 2020s. Expect a fix for that. That's cool, because it helps new players or grinding players to get quicker to a new tank. Although, again, I personally don't like this kind of progression system. I would like that I personally would think blueprints would be better suited if they would help to research the modules of a tank. Because, in my opinion, if we, for example, need 300,000 experience to get a tier 10 vehicle from a tier 9 one, I don't mind grinding, for example, 250,000 when I only have to use 50,000 to unlock everything on a tank. But I dislike it when I have to for example, grind 100,000 experience to just unstock the tank before I will be useful and grind the rest of the 200,000 experience. So this distribution, in my opinion, it would be important for wargaming to more focus that the stock grinds are shorter and the grinds to the next tank longer, because then you will learn the tank and you are also inclined to either buy premium tank times or boosters or maybe free XP to just skip a tank because you played it so much already. But it is more fair for people which have to play stock tanks, as it won't be like 50-100 games until the tank is unstock. This is my personal opinion. I want to do a video on this on itself because it's a very important topic. And finally, some changes about Clan Wars. I also talked about this with one of the German community managers, which is also responsible to those, so I have the exact infos. There won't be a new tank. The event will start around the 12th of January, but not earlier than the 12th of January. It will be 2 weeks, tier 10. In the strategic planning, there will be no mechanics changed or will not get any massive changes. So you will probably have your own personal boosters. The clan will have boosters and it will be almost the same. There will be a new mechanic that affect fights, and there will be new directives exclusively for the global map. Again, directives which we right now have, like the crew directives for credits, or the ones for bonds, which are like better ventilation, better tank ground rammer, etc, etc, etc. This will be a new mechanics that will be tested during this event, and everyone will get a set of those goodies, and it will be not possible to replenish them or buy them. That's interesting. We'll see how it goes. I play Clan Wars, maybe not during the 12th of January until the 17th, because I have finals there and they're important. I have to pass them. And luckily for the people which wished me good luck for my Thermal Fluid Dynamics final, which I had, or exam I had, I passed it. Woo! Awesome. I like it. It finally was worth to play, to learn. Then a new feature will become Workshop, and it allows you to craft, it will be possible to craft premium tier 8 tanks, and it will run parallel to the fame points. So you can get, for example, a tier 10 reward tank if you don't have anyone or all, but you can also craft a premium tier 8 tanks, and during those workshops you will be also able to get the IS-5, KV-4 Kreslavsky, and Chieftain and T-23E3. So all those tanks which are Clan Wars exclusive, which didn't got given out for like past 2 years. So that's cool. I like that. I like that that Wargaming decides to make it possible for new players to get every single tank in the game. And it will be very interesting because you will get different materials during playing in the game. And in those materials, you will be able to assemble them into components. With those components, you will be able to make tanks. And here they're giving an analogy. Sadly, I didn't play The Witcher 3 yet, but it will be similar to the crafting mechanics in The Witcher 3. I think it will be something like, again, like in Minecraft, I guess, because there you also farm base resources, for example, wood. Then you make out of it planks, something, and then you make a workbench. So you have different steps to go through before you have enough materials. I think modern Minecraft would be a better example for that. And I like that. I like those changes, and we'll look forward to it, what we can get in this workshop. Maybe it will be not interesting for me because I'm a whale and have basically every single tank in a game except for the T-22 medium. But who knows? Thank you so much for going with me through this whole Q&A. If you enjoy such videos, leave a like, leave a comment, leave a sub below. Let me know what you think about those different changes. I know it was a long video, but I think it is very, very interesting. So thank you so much for your attention. Cheers, guys.